So, hi Rachel, but thank you for joining us
Hi.
today.
Mm.
So, for those beautiful souls that will be listening to this at any point in the right time that's aligned to you, Rachel and I have been sort of just getting this intuition that we needed to just talk about what is happening energetically. And we are like two little jigsaw puzzle pieces, aren't we, in terms of what we offer, and we seem to balance each other out with it, don't we? So we want to explore. I'll put a title here and we'll see where this intuitively comes through for both of us. So the word's really about like atomic shift, detox, and alchemy, and how, oh, my body's getting all tingly, how the earth, the spirit of the earth is the instigator of all of this. And we are going through this atomic shift right now. And your beautiful knowledge with Neptune, you mentioned the other day, and I was like, that's it. It's how it's closing these cycles
Mm.
and how it's linked to the Industrial Revolution as well. So I wanted you to really give us some juicy details, Rachel, and we'll just flow with it.
First of all, okay, for anybody listening, I know Gemma said like we fit together like pieces of a jigsaw. I would actually just like to go back 2 or 3 years. I think it's about, sometime in the past 3 years when we got to know each other. I just want to bring that in because it's important. So Gemma first came to me through word of mouth from one of my other clients, and you first approached me saying, I think I'd like an astrology reading, but first of all, I want to tell you about myself so that you can hear me, and is this the right kind of thing? And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. So I did an astrology reading for you, but of course, because I'm reading somebody's soul energy through a chart, the more intuitive a person is, the more receptive to the reading. You were like wildly receptive, and I'm going, wow, this woman's amazing. So, of course, I get to know my clients through that shared energy. Yeah. So then we kind of became ongoing each other's clients, didn't we? And it's been like an energetic dance ever since. And we're very conscious that I tell you what I really love in this world. It's knowing other people who I feel that deep level of interdependent support with. Like, here's a soul sister who has gifts that I won't have in this life. I don't intend to have them. I need you in my village. That was like my feeling, like, oh wow, Gemma knows what she's talking about. She's really grounded and embodied and got the body perspective, got the earth perspective, whereas I've always been like this cosmic power, sky, and insights. So it's like I'm really yes, and I know what's going on in the upper chakras. And you're like the energy healer, the body worker. So together it's like we bring this really efficient energy to each other.
And
And
I've found that the more we've trusted that, like, so for Daughters of the Golden Rose, I was just getting shown speak to Rachel. And it's for you that then looked at my chart again and said that this is what you're really in alignment with. Because I was really struggling, like, and money and what do I need to do? And I feel like I'm sort of not quite in alignment. And it was actually your knowledge and your share enabled me to really trust what was coming through and to step into that. And then from us doing it together, it supported you. And so
yes,
it's a dance, as you say.
exactly. And honestly, I'm not surprised that you were struggling with like money perspectives because you have actually received the biggest golden abundance stream of yes, this is the divine feminine way. You literally are channeling the voice of the Christ feminine Sophia light within the womb. So it's no wonder that having heard her speak around the flow of that golden stream of feminine abundance, you have heard money speak. When I heard that, my whole body lit up and I was going, yes, because spirit are like, yes, listen to her. Gemma's got the codes, yes. So that was so, so powerful. But to be the person who brings that through, You are literally disrupting massive patriarchal oppressive systems of power and control. So it's no wonder that you're like, wait, I'm just bringing this through one body and one voice.
Yeah.
But then when we get together, it's like, no, come on, it really is powerful. So together, that energy flows more deeply and it becomes grounded in real life, which, you've finished an entire, what, 11-week or 12-week
12
channeling?
weeks, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
12-week channeling.
Yeah.
It's
Which was,
huge.
yeah. Which was
Yeah.
huge. And it was, and like just like you say, this is the new way of living. And so it's how we can transition into that
Yeah.
with full-bodied
Yeah.
do that and to feel safe in that. And as I'm talking, I have seen how the earth is shifting and the old vibration, the old illusions that will be moving through, but our neural systems set up on that as our
Yeah.
safety. And so for us to be able to embody and move into this new way, our neural systems have to feel safe within. And so we're not going to take that leap of faith or that trust. We have to feel it like heart and soul and body to go, this is my truth, this is my alignment. I don't quite know what I'm walking into. However, it feels completely aligned for me.
Yeah, totally, totally. And that was like in the course of the 3 years where we've known each other, there's been obviously there's evolutions on both sides. Your skills have grown, my skills have grown. We both worked with lots of other people to help with our healing. We have helped other clients, and it all feels like this interdependent network of creating these support systems, these matriarchal lines of interdependent networks where we allow our nervous systems to feel safe. So we're not actually going out seeking, oh, here's something else that can fix me and fix all my wounds and heal all my wounds so that I can stand on my own as this like independent silo going for it like a soldier in the war. No, that's what we're coming away from. That's not the feminine way.
Yeah.
But all along this way, there have been times where you've had like a surge of awareness or a new gifts come online, and I've been like, oh, Gemma knows.
Mm.
And your channelings have really been massive for me bringing certain things through. So, having said all that, I just feel like it's a good time to just mention Daughters of the Golden Rose because that really was a deep, embodied shedding away of the physical layers of what our bodies were carrying. So I very much work in the mental realms. I'm helping people come to cognitive clarity and get that peace, which is why I talk a lot and because I've got that going on, that's what I'm generating. But your gift is really deeply allowing somebody a woman to take away those layers, those old layers of what has built up in the energy body and the physical body. And you know this down to the organ level, don't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. I mean, it was, again, it was a aligned trust, and we didn't quite know what the outcome would be of this container, but we just followed, we channeled, we connected. And it was literally this shift for me to find my true inner safety. And actually the revelation of that was there was this my inner child who was abused as a 4-year-old have never been able to access, always go to that place, but she's never quite with me. In fact, my pop was holding her. But this time she came to me, and because my body was safe enough to hold her. And when I've talked about the return to innocence, I think that's one of the first things we did, isn't it? How these entities, this innocence, this purity of us is somehow locked in the earth, that nobody can ever get the soul light at all. It's just somehow held in and as protected for us to reclaim when we're ready. It felt like it was that. It was like the spirit of her was held, and she was held by my pop in spirit. And eventually, and then she could come. And it's like, it's only because my body was ready to receive. And
Yes.
how that happened, I can't quite explain that to you. But in terms of what happened through that process, but my body found safety. It
Wow.
felt truth.
Wow. And you've just hit on the most amazing thing, right? Because you can't fake it. There is no faking it till you make it.
No.
You're not going to make it if you fake it. Like we should turn the whole quote around, right?
Yeah. You
And you
have to
can't.
be right to the neural cells because I always felt like there was a little part, a stringy part of me just holding on. I couldn't quite surrender. It's like I knew intellectualize, I know I need to trust, I need to surrender, but something wouldn't quite let go. And it was
Mm.
through our interaction that that's blindsided, wounded feeling that got triggered, activated, which I felt deeply in my womb. That was the blindsided shock that I had to heal.
Wow. You
And
see,
yeah,
so anybody listening, all those people think I'm like a real aggressive, loudmouth, angry, annoying bitch, right? My triggers actually work to heal people.
but it wasn't even, but that was the really interesting thing is because you just said away, but my uh my protective part would have been activated in terms of what I'm trying to explain because it wasn't what you said wasn't wrong at all, but my how I interpreted that, my body interpreted it, how as in like, oh, am I safe? Or it just created a visceral reaction in my body, which I thought, well, this is huge. Why has that happened? So this enables us to be curious and hold conscious space of something rather than going, oh, there it is. Let's keep that loop, keep that perspective, and don't change it. Whereas I'm like, well, this is really interesting. I felt this in my body. Is this in the level of what it is? Why is that? And because of us and us, the relationship that we had, I can go, I need to share this with you because this has happened to me. And because of that safety I've created in our body, the safety between us, between twin and woman, I was able to share that. And then I realized afterwards, this was the blindsided shock that I experienced as a 4-year-old because I didn't see it coming. And what happened was you in a very beautiful way activated that. And I was able to reach that. And then it came up through my body and go, this needs healing. And that was what it was. And so, yeah, so I'm exceptionally grateful for us and the safety that we've created enabled me to do that. And I think this is why
Yeah.
it's so important for women to really start to create this safety with one another, because I actually see this is where humanity fell. It sort of interlinks with some writing that came through about what if there's no God? And
Mhm.
actually, you're the creator, you're the observer, and that there were seraphims and women would have sung in caves to hold the frequency of earth, of love. When that got inverted, somehow the frequency dropped. And so the frequencies, and this is why humanity's gone into the abyss that it is. And so this is about women reconnecting whatever deep levels of pain or wounds, woman to woman, to come back into that whole trust. And then they hold the earth again.
Mm, beautiful.
I've gone all
I
teary. Our
this, yeah, I
conversations.
love how you know this, you see this, you've paved this way, and I'm very grateful that on a woman to woman, individual to individual level, we healed and did this very deeply vulnerable work together. And I can say, hand on heart, I love you. I love
Oh,
you
wow, that just hit.
as as Gemma, as the human that you are, but I love your soul with a fierceness that's hard to describe. But my guides have always said, Gemma knows. Gemma knows. I get this like, yes, it's like all the company of heaven going, yes, Gemma knows.
Oh, I mean, that just makes me so actually well up because it's like somehow you see me that I don't see in myself.
We
You
often
somehow see
do.
that light that I don't know I'm carrying
Yeah,
at times.
yeah, yeah. We so often do because you know what? Society never said to little girls, what can you see? What do you know? Look at this wonderful, divine little girl here. Wow, look how close to source she is. Look how
Mm.
beautiful in spirit she is. They were like, you know,
Yeah.
Sit down, be good, shut up, get this test revised for, get on your knees and pray. And just like,
Wow.
we're exhausted. We're
Yeah.
exhausted. And then
We
all
weren't
of
seen
the,
for who we were we? And I think we've had to become something to fit in. And the system has never been designed for women or children or girls to fit in. And that's what's shifting. And we change that from within ourselves. And we inspire through that and we influence from that, isn't it? And we do it together. I feel like there's a song coming on, right? So
I've got all my sisters with me.
yeah, I've got sisters doing it, but I won't sing. I haven't quite worked that gift out just quite yet. So
Amazing. So, shall we hit the atomic wave?
I think so.
I
And I
would
think
love to invite you to talk about what you have seen, because you often come to me with a vision and your vision activates my, oh yes, well, astrologically, blah, blah, blah. But you
okay.
start off with your vision. It's a bit more cool than my
Oh
planets.
no, I think it's beautiful. I think it just clarifies it all because ultimately our bodies are the universe that's in there. You know, what created us is this spark of light from that ovum. When they're fertilized, there's this spark of light, and the water. So actually, we are like the embodiment of everything. So when you bring in astrology, a lot of people think, well, it's out there. How's that influence? It's like, no, it's everything that's shifting and adjusting is from an electron neuron is happening in you too. We are when the science is as it goes more and more, it recognizes that actually every like minutes of seconds we expand and then we come back as who we are, and we're literally out and then we're back again. And so what we're seeing is like a dense hologram, what we are. And so from my perspective, it's like, well, at that point, we have a conscious choice to choose how we come back at each time. How do we re-embody matter that we're seeing with each other now, right? Like, so for me, spirituality and everything is about how conscious are we?
Mm.
Are we love or are
Mm.
we joy or we fear?
Mm.
How conscious are we really? And so from what I was shown a couple of months ago was actually this like an atomic wave literally sweeping through the earth. I've seen her for several years before as like Mother Earth was held up inside, cramped in, and she's been stretching, waking, open, like he's just coming out from a deep sleep. And she's been pushing, which is, 2020 and COVID, and she's starting to go, right, no, here's my space. And that's been coming up. And now this is very the surface, the superficial, the
Mm.
plaque that humanity has created, the infrastructures that humanity has created based on fear and separation. And that is coming like a huge wave, like a nuclear atomic bomb, but from a purifying and detoxing and clearing out. And that she is sweeping that through entirely. Which is interesting. Now they're talking about space weather and magnetic stress coming through the earth now. And for me, this is about realizing what isn't serving you, what isn't your truth, what isn't love, joy, or peace. And
Mm.
our nervous systems are going to be having to really hold strongly in trust. And it's not going to be held through the root system that we've got that's attached to these infrastructures, because they're
Mm.
going to go. And
Yeah.
so that will naturally generate stress, fear, adrenal glands, because that's our root chakra that's connected to this. And it'll be going, oh my God, I'm not safe. And so we have to keep doing these embodiment practices to go, no, I'm safe in my body. And
Mm.
connection to earth, which I think will
Mm.
connect in with Neptune and Industrial Revolution, because I feel that's when we got really disconnected from one level anyway, because we forgot the sun, we forgot the moon in terms of the light and the seasons and the cycles of earth, and become so on it all the time.
Mm. Oh, yeah, wow. Okay. Oh, Many things hitting at once. Would this be a good place to just talk about the actual movements of planet Neptune? Whoa, okay, so Neptune was in Aries, okay, so it was in Aries from 1861 to 1875. Now, as of next year, so 2026, 26, I think it's 26th of January 2026, we start a whole new Neptune in Aries cycle. But if we think back 164 years to what was going on the last time, we can get a lot of information about what were the structures being created. And by that, we could literally be talking about the dome on the Capitol building in Washington. We could be talking about St. Pancras Station. We could be talking about the London Underground, because I like buildings. So there are quite a lot of physical buildings that were built in that time. And for anybody watching from Yorkshire, the Grand Hotel Scarborough and a lot of Scarborough, that old
Right.
Victorian thing, So we're right in the middle of the real heart of the second wave of the Industrial Revolution in Britain. That's where it started. So we're at the epicenter of that in England, really. And that's that rise of structures and systems that's defined by the bosses. That's that structure where you've got ownership at the top and heavy hierarchies. Okay. So at this time, right now, sorry, I'm just going to take you to right now, Neptune is in Pisces for its last 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, no, 2.5 months. We've got 2.5 months and it ain't going to be there anymore. So if you're feeling at this time like there's a lot collapsing, ending, coming up, feeling unstable, good, you're feeling what is actually happening here. Because none of us want to be in that factory mindset anymore.
Oh my God, yes. That's literally what we started to say before I hit record, wasn't it? That
Yeah,
pushing, like
yeah,
equating your time to money. Oh, which is
exactly. But
not right for women, especially. No.
it was so set in the psyche, so set in the psyche, right? So everyone in the Western world and all of our ancestors, if we are British people with British ancestors, and there are many people across the Atlantic with British ancestors, and a lot was going on there as well, like American Civil War, huge, right?
Okay.
There's a lot going on there, but I'm not overly educated on American history to talk about that. However, even if we just focus on that factory mindset of you get paid just about a living wage, but the working conditions are bloody awful. We don't care. We want you to produce, 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 produce. You bring your fit mind and you bring your fit body. We want you like soldiers. Why? Because classical management theory came from, I need a drum roll, the military. Okay, so that is all from war consciousness. And literally, here's the value of me having been a business lecturer. All of business theory comes from military theory. So we are
Really?
all heavily, heavily indoctrinated into survival programs, being paid that kind of minimum wage. But hey, you've got to be lucky. You've got to be lucky because we're giving you the money to have a house and eat bread.
Mm.
And you can survive. Some of your children might not, because let's face it, we don't have much medical stuff going on now, which is why everything was like, funeral. Like the Victorians were just in black all the time, weren't they? They were
Mm.
constantly at a child's funeral or somebody who's like died in a workplace accident. And literally, that is the cycle that we are saying, no, we've had enough. We're not doing that anymore.
It's just thinking as you're saying that, they would have taken people off the land. They would have taken them off from farming and different things to come into the industries because
Yes,
people would have been working as communities, feeding themselves, creating their own food. They would have been interdependent as communities. and then you start taking them out from that, and then you put them into factory. Someone else is creating your food. You got now this loop of dependency, haven't you? Of because you're not
Yes.
creating your own food. And actually, I'm feeling this is what we need to do is as a root is not only for our health, but our sovereignty is actually start to create communities of creating our own food. Because there's once you've got that, you're not compliant to a system,
Mm,
which is really
mm.
interesting what they're doing in Britain with regards to putting pressure on the farmers and taking, with taxing and, there's just so much going on because they're trying to take the land back from the
Mm.
farmers and things. Because if we can't produce our own food, we don't have food sovereignty, then, you are dependent on a system.
Yes, and that ties into population explosion, which happened at the same time. And
Right.
we are now also still like the powers that be are working, or the powers that were working on a population explosion. That's still a thing, right? With
Mm.
increasing alarm, possibly,
Yeah.
and lots of issues there about sustainability.
Exactly. And then schooling as well came up. That's when schools were produced because it's about making factory workers.
Yeah,
So this is
yeah.
all the infrastructures that will be called out.
I'm hearing not London Stock Exchange, Wall Street. I don't know about that, but I'm hearing it. So um,
Okay.
might be one to look up afterwards.
Yeah, well, we've just had a Taurus full moon, haven't we? And Taurus is the symbol of Wall Street for the bull of financial systems. So, yes.
Yeah, so Taurus rules money, safety, security. Now, as well as Neptune going back into Pisces for the final time, Uranus has gone back into Taurus for the final time. Now, Uranus gives us a shake-up. Uranus is a shock. Uranus is the lightning bolt of what we haven't been seeing, that we suddenly go, boom, light bulb.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. This problem
Now,
is like the atomic wave. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
shocking it out to go, here it is.
yes,
Because this is ultimately has everything, the chaos that we're seeing in the world isn't because it's getting worse. It's actually because it's been detoxed, and actually the true force behind it is truth. It's like a
yes,
rising light of truth, Excalibur. It's like this sword of light is coming up, and she is like, I am not taking this anymore.
yeah,
It's like the skin of earth deep from within is healing. And so she's just pushing these scabs off, like,
yeah,
not carrying this anymore. I'm not carrying these wounds, and you as humanity
exactly.
need to shift.
Yeah, and when we feel awful, you know those times when you're like, "Oh, I don't know what's wrong with me, I just feel terrible." It's not you as an individual, it's the heaviness that you're feeling. And actually to go more deeply and inquire within, what is this shadow? And it may be a collective shadow, but it
Mm.
may also be something that has been lurking. And we feel like, wait, I've been working on this same thing for 12 years. How can I not have seen this thing? Because it's even more veiled, it's even more buried. It was buried deeper down, and Uranus in Taurus is like going, come on. So my recent one is, oh God, how many years have I done money mindset work? Don't know. I've even written a book on, deconditioning from religious abuse as a child, right? But most recently, I did this subconscious work where I'm seeing those big wooden collection plates in church and the men handing them out expectantly, like watching you. How much are you giving away? You're a better person. God's watching
Oh,
you.
judgment.
Oh,
Yes. Oh, right.
so you were a better person, right? So it just didn't make sense. You were basically being like fucked everywhere. Sorry for the language.
Notice where
Okay.
you like.
So it's like, you are a better person the more you give away. That's
Oh,
what the church
wow.
has always said. If you've got, don't forget how fortunate you are, even though we're going to tell you what a worthless sinner you are. So get on your knees and pray for how bad you are. Lord, we are not worthy to gather the crumbs from under your table. But now we're going to show you some pictures of people throughout the world who don't know Jesus. You'd better hand over your money so that we can educate them about Jesus and pay for the roof over our heads. What?
Shit, that's a lot there. That is a lot. That's
Yeah.
like shame. Like, how, you know, what money supposedly makes you a better person, or you shame if you don't have that money.
Exactly. Yeah. Shame, shame, shame,
Shame,
shame,
shame.
shame,
It's
shame,
just
shame.
keeping you in the lowest vibration, which is the same frequency as lead. So no wonder if you're heavy. If you're carrying shame, it's the same frequency as lead. So
Oh, lead's ironic because of the church roofs. I mean, the Church of England is really poor because they can't put roofs over their heads. But do you know what's funny? Because the Church of England started with Henry VIII, who stripped the roofs off the monasteries and the abbeys to take the lead so that he could put it in his coffers. I mean, this is all pretty circular.
wow. Yeah. Crikey. I mean, there's just so much to unravel there because as well as like meditation a couple of weeks ago, I think I shared it with you, is that I was shown I was getting taken deeper into the earth, and then I was suddenly in a vault. It was like following Sophia Light, and she was in a vault, and I'm like, where are we? We're underneath the Vatican.
Oh, yes.
And then actually, as that kind of broke and broke free, it was literally showing me the breaking down of the Vatican and just crumbling of buildings. I mean, that might be not necessarily, well, not to see the Vatican, but there was a tower falling down in Rome just a few days ago, wasn't there? So,
Very interesting. And
yeah.
actually, I think that Poppaea Sabina, who is buried underneath the Vatican, is speaking through both of us because the first time I connected with her, she was the second wife of Nero. The first time I connected with her was during your winter solstice meditation,
Oh, I didn't know this. So
2023.
there is a
So the
essence.
tomb of the Julii is underneath the Vatican. So that was existing there. And yeah, because I woke up one in the middle of the night one time and I was like, oh, gosh, I'm in the tomb. I mean, I do this. I'm like a tomb traveler. So it's like I like to say that I'm with the consciousness of a soul energy who is speaking from the tomb. And I could see these like pictures on the roof. And I was like, there's somebody in a chariot. And anyway, so I looked it up and I was like, actually, there's a roof with Apollo in his chariot, and the sun is like the Christ light of, you know, of before the Vatican. And they
Oh,
just slapped
wow.
the Vatican on top.
Oh my word. And this is what
And
they've done basically, wherever there has been like worship of the feminine, whether you want to call it pagan, whatever, in terms of the abbeys, it's very feminine, sacred, which actually was shown for Daughters of the Golden Rose was the Knights of Templar, which I know they've obviously got quite a bad well, it's distorted and there'll be an element of it. But what it showed me for them was actually they were the protector of the feminine. They were hugely there was some deep love between the masculine and the feminine there, and which I felt like a huge release when I actually through that meditation. But it was
mm,
like there's so much distortion in the stories, and that was Friday the 13th. They got rid of the Knights of Templar through the Vatican. There's so many roads going back to Rome, and
all loads lead to
literally,
Rome, right?
and it's like I feel like that we'll get to the root, but I didn't know there was this
The
vault
tomb is
and tomb
actually
underneath.
underneath there. Yeah, I feel that that light is wanting to burst out. It's like that light coming up from within and shattering there.
Yes.
Yeah, because I connected with her injuries at death because it was recorded that her husband Nero had kicked her to death and murdered her. He did not. That's why he mummified her. I am more likely to connect with mummies with the energies because they've been preserved, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so
With
I,
love
I
as well. With love, they would have been for that
100%.
process. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, I 100% think that he was just going, I don't know why you doubt, you know, and I think you said it may have been a ruptured spleen. She
It
was
was,
actually
yeah, yeah, I'm
kicked
getting
by a
that tingle. It
horse.
was the spleen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was kicked by a horse on the last day of the quinquennial Neronian Games. And he felt guilty because she had said, so here was the story that I brought through. She had said to him, um, she was like, you know, intuitive, and she said, I'm having a really bad feeling about today. I don't want to go to the games. And he was like, I'm paraphrasing because I don't speak Latin. He was like, but it's all about me. It's all in my name. Let's go. Come on, you're my wife. And he was like one of those sort of men of the people. He was like,
Mhm.
we'll go see the horse handlers before we go to the games, because he was hated because, well, for many reasons. But one of the reasons that he was hated is because he was one of those people who would talk to everybody. And even though
Mhm.
he knew he was emperor and he was like, sort of above everyone, he was also like wanting to be a person of the people. So they went to see
He
the
was
horse
trying to cool
handlers.
down hierarchy. He was trying
Yeah,
to flatten it.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, she got kicked by a horse and she was heavily pregnant at the time. So the daughter, which he was
Yeah.
like, the daughter didn't survive either. So
Wow, I'm just
yeah.
getting very tingly and I can still see that. And actually I'm getting the name Sarah coming through with the daughter, which is
Oh,
often Sarah's they say is the daughter of Mary Magdalene of Yeshua. So
yes.
Sarah is the granddaughter of Christ, or so yeah, it feels quite aligned what we're sharing here. And I think for those that are listening and for us maybe to understand maybe why this is all coming through right now, is that knowing that time isn't linear and
Mm,
actually all these different paradigms, all these different things are happening can be accessible now, like
mm,
literally
mm,
in our hearts, in our breath, in the conscious moment. And so what I've been shown is like the Doctor Strange, where things fold into themselves. This was the return to innocence, how we're closing down paradigms of fear, how we take responsibility of what is ours and what is not, and we bring in forgiveness. Yeshua plays very strongly in this. It will show me the pyramid, in Giza, and so it's like there's huge amount of like we having to call back on any
mm.
paradigm, take responsibility for it and close it whenever it's been of fear.
Yes,
And so
yeah.
this feels like we're accessible. And science is interestingly coming up is time is not linear. We are the past or the future right now. It's just kind of you can access it just through the electrons,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
deep into your body.
That's it. All we have is this now moment, right?
Yeah. We
And
can
now
access
this
everything
this
through
one.
the now. We
Yeah,
can literally just reach out to everything in the
yeah.
now
And the
and
body is so
close.
clever, right? It's through the soul, through the body. So the soul is exists constantly. That's like eternal soul. But in this mortal existence, in this physical body, we get to remember what this body is capable of, right?
I know. I think this is the journey that we're starting to remember who we really are and the power that we are, and that this whole process is about discernment of that, and to know that you are the creator, you're the observer, and actually be really mindful of where your mind is being trying to be stolen, and know that your
Mm,
energy, and to keep calling it back to what is pure, which is your heart, which is unconditional love. Even though
mm,
when you feel yourself go off, think, okay, I need to come back to center,
mm,
come back to my truth.
mm.
Because, and I feel this is what we will be challenged with, certainly for the next 6 months, kind of
Oh, definitely, because there will be
uprooting all of this.
yeah, there will be different forms of the revolution. So, like, we will be in different revolutionary times as of 2026. So, when Neptune and Saturn are together, Saturn is the foundation and the structure, and that's a 30-year cycle-ish. So, we're looking back to the mid to late 90s for that other Saturn cycle, and Saturn is in Pisces now. Next spring, it will go into Aries and Neptune will be there as well. So we're bringing our hopes and dreams for the future into that Aries, right? We're going to take action and get shit done. And we're going to create those foundations. So everything that's being done now is getting rid of those foundations that were never strong anyway. It's got to be built on rock, not on sand. And that feeds into the tower moment. If we just go back to Rome, we literally, I know everybody, everybody who's been saying the world's going through a collapse, the world's going through a massive tower moment. Sometimes it gets really literal, doesn't it? Like last week when a physical medieval tower collapsed in Rome. But when I saw that, I was like, wait, who did that belong to? Ooh, Pope Innocent the Third. Now, Pope
I'm sorry, I have to
Innocent
laugh at that. It's just innocence. Yeah, yeah,
Innocent.
yeah,
Oh, oh, oh.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like turning in his grave with us laughing at him now. No, I mean, and you know, just to acknowledge that a man did die in that incident, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were restoring the tower, but it actually collapsed. Now there that level of literal tower collapse, it's it's so connected with events that have happened over these past few months. And I mean since summer 2025, notably in the US, actually, with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there
Right.
was an almost instant uprising of religion, of Christianity.
Right.
Um, and there was a heavy influence of, you know, Charlie Kirk had been on campus discussing his religious views,
Mm.
discussing
Yeah.
Bible. Now, I'd never come across him before at all. However, I did watch, you know, I went to watch a few of the things that he'd been talking about, and I was quite interested to see a few clips of his funeral and the massive resurgence or uprising of some quite what I would call basic Christian dogma. Just going to say it like that. Basic Christian dogma. As though people still need controlling and can't think for themselves. Really?
Hmm.
When there is so much that is nuanced and complex. So much, so much. We can't just say, hey, I found something that I don't really like about some vicars, therefore I'm going to chuck the entire Bible out. Do you know what I mean? It's like this black and white thinking just doesn't do anybody any favors. But one thing that really just came through my stream, which was I really noticed that there was a heavy influence on doctrine that came out of the New Testament. So the last 3 years of Jesus' life, the life of Jesus, as recorded in the New Testament, which is like recorded 4 times over because it was such a good story, we wrote it 4 times. And
Rewrote
then
it.
missed out many other
Yeah.
books. So it's like those 3 years, 30 AD to 33 AD, as though that happened. Oh, and then the founding fathers showed up in America, right? And then Christianity happened in America, as though the rest of the world and every other religion can go to hell. And I'm like, is this even for real? So anyway, I mean, like I say, I don't know much about American history, but I do know that white Americans can't access their past unless they come right to Britain. I do know that, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
there's just so much, isn't there? And I think it's the key of everything is about sovereignty, and it's where you've given away yourself, where you've given away your power, whether it's through the religion, whether it's through governance. It's, actually you need to take that responsibility and claim
mm,
that back. And a lot of people have to go through that victim martyr energy to realize that they have this empowerment. And that seems like the layer cake that a lot of people have to come through to acknowledge that they actually are a powerful being.
yeah.
And actually the rating of like there is no God is actually you are the God, you are the
Mm,
creator, you're the observer, and actually the Sophia light is the womb of creation. So it's your seed of thought that within the womb of creation that creates what we decide or what we observe. So it's really being really
mm,
tuned in and
mm,
conscious of that. And
mm,
it's and it's there's so much, isn't there? That's those layers of with him and with America, and it is like I say, it's all this superficial this stuff that's always been so deeply rooted into our systems, into our blood and into our bones, that actually that's all coming up to the surface. And we have to be really if it activates us, what is it that's it's activating? What is it trying to tell us? And like you say, it's
mm,
trying to tell you that you can't think for yourself, so we'll think for you.
mm. Yeah, exactly. So it's these really dense layers that misses out was 17 centuries. What it's almost incomprehensible. But what was quite interesting for me was like not long after that, I just went to Durham Cathedral, and that is a hugely important important in terms of English history, place where there was a lot of I don't know what the word is, almost like complication or fusing together of religious power and political power and legal power and government power. And the reason I mention it is because for some reason, I just happened to look at a little display that said, or did I look at a display? Yeah, there was something where somebody who I'd never encountered before in my religious history knowledge popped up. And you know when something pops up and it goes, hello, I've got something to show you here. And the name was Stephen Langton. So he was, I believe, an archbishop. He wrote the chapters into the Bible. Now, why don't we know why isn't he common knowledge? Why don't we know who wrote chapters into the Bible? Right.
Yes, at that point in time.
Yeah.
How do
But
they know?
guess,
Yes. How do they
yeah,
know at that time as well what to write in?
yeah, exactly. So this again, it's another layer of the story.
Mm.
Also the same guy who helped to create the Magna Carta, which is the cornerstone of all modern democracy. 1215 in England. And it's like, wait, there isn't just the New Testament and then the founding of America. There's all this going on in between. And I feel like there's absolute years that get just blasted away as though it doesn't matter. But you know who didn't like the Magna Carta? And where there was a power play going on that was outside of England. It was Pope Innocent III, the same guy whose tower's just come down.
Oh my holy shit. That's it.
It's a very long
Wow.
story, but yeah,
Yeah. This is the thing. This is how we have to recognize everything's connected. Everything. Nothing's separate.
exactly.
We aren't separate. Everything is connected. And if we start to realize that, I mean, I keep getting electrons coming into my head. It's like we can choose which electron and what we bind to create what brings back into matter each time. And it's just like all of that is relevant now. It's
Yes,
still all relevant now. And it feels like this whole aspect that has created and our beliefs and everything, it's even like I say, it's even in our bones, it's in the stones, not the stones, okay, stones and bones, it's like the stones of the earth or the skeletal system, like for us but for the earth, and it's so like our DNA is there, you know. We can change, our bones are regenerating, we're having to really tune into the constructs of our mind coming from fed from our skeletal system, from our bones, from our DNA that has been born from the bloodshed in and our earth, people that have been before us, our ancestors. We are carrying all that presently now. It's
yes,
quite
yes.
incredible, really. So everything that you're saying is still so relevant now until
It's
we
so relevant.
close the patterns and the cycles.
Yes, yeah. But we have to see it and name it and raise it up and go, wait, what am I actually being shown here? Because, gosh, it must have been in 2012, I made that decision. I am always shown something that is relevant, that I won't be shown something that's nonsense. Like I know that not everybody works in the same way that I do, but if I see something, there will be a reason and it will be connected.
Mm.
So, even though it seems to be sometimes random information is flying in, it's just never random.
No, and it feels like it is like a joining of the dots. You know those toys, and I get, for me, at random, but you know those toys that come circle and then it comes back out and it's a massive
Oh yeah,
sphere. It
yeah,
feels like that. It's like when we start to really align all these elements of distortion, but there's also truth in it. They've always woven
mm,
distortion around truth. So it's kind of like, well, where is the truth underneath this? So those acts of law, you know, supposedly sold it's good better for you because we're giving you some rights back. Well, actually, we've always had our rights. Thank you. So, yay, you got a law that I've got some rights. No, Actually, law, does it stand for land, air, and water? You know, it's kind of like how we're so missold and like, oh, you've got something good for you. No, it's like Industrial Revolution. Oh, you got a job, you got some money. No, again, I've had to
Yeah.
sell something to you
Yeah.
for that.
Yes, yeah. It's like, oh, right, so you're harvesting my time, you're taking my time on earth. And in return, you're making me feel safe because you're saying that I can have food. Well, I could have just been farming the land anyway. But what's going on?
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah. And then I think as soon as you see that and you share that and you kind of go, oh my word, yes, of course, there's the illusion.
Mm,
I can now consciously see it. And
yeah.
now I can alchemize it. Now I can go into my body and go, okay, where is that in my body? That's how I work. It's like, where is that sitting and how can I alchemize that? How
Mm,
can I turn it back to truth and back to the gold that we are, which is the same frequency as love. So, you know, we can start to see how this all integrates. But it's,
Just to say, when you mentioned that toy going in and out like that, that is very much, if it wasn't like, plastic and primary colors, if you just imagine that, but as like an etheric, having these etheric strings between them, and each of the points being a bright white light. That's how I see the structure of the interconnection of everybody and everything and events through time. And what I see is the white lights and the energetic pathways going between white connected lights. And then I also see a different matrix that's like darker, and it's trying to interfere with that network. I see that.
wow. Yeah, I can see that as you, it's like dark shards of light darkness trying to, yeah, which is really interesting because that, you know, when I'll share because I was what I thought was channeling light codes, new gift, actually may have been pure at the beginning, but it had wrapped around distortion, which I didn't know, and it had attached to the part of me that didn't think one was enough. And that somehow having that gift suddenly made me something different. It attached to the altered self, the ego, what we want to call it. Um, but then I believed it was me, and it was saying oh light codes, and it's like oh, look, actually the light you need is out in the sun, is out in the moon, the solar rays, everything that's coming through, they're the light codes that are going to activate your body. um
Mm.
but it did show me that there's distortions attached to every single thing, and
Wow.
to know what our truth is. So it's not about opening ourselves up to connect, it's opening our hearts from a place of wholeness, like that sphere of light, like that toy that
Yeah,
then
yeah.
interconnects with everything, but it's a
Mm,
ciliation, not opening up for it to come in, if you know what I mean. So we are opening up
mm,
from a place of wholeness, and through that
mm,
frequency of expansion, then we are resonating with the same frequencies, and we're in flow
mm,
with unity with that, like a drop of water to the ocean. There's still a one drop of water, but individual, but yet collectively it looks like the ocean. And so
mm,
we have to be like that, and to really start discerning what the truth is. And as much as that was a horrible, not a pleasant experience, because when you realize it isn't you and you've got like your head going, well, who am I? Like the old
mm.
Yeshua, know thyself, the oracles of Delphi. It's like that was my challenge moment of who really am I? Like, what is my truth? And I had to only find it when I connected into my heart.
Mm.
Then I knew that's what was pure.
Wow,
And
yeah.
so any time I'm doing is like I have to drop right into there to know what is my
Mm.
truth.
That is the powerful electromagnetic muscle, isn't it?
The Taurus, yeah, yeah. Oh, wow.
Wow.
I think, well, there's plenty more to come, I think, on this, but I feel like we've really
That's a
just,
lot.
we've, in fact, people are going to have to probably listen to this a few times because there's so much sewn into this that this is about dismantling so many collective beliefs and infrastructures and ways of being. It's huge.
Yes.
Oh, and I
Let's
will
just,
put in there is this void. That was the one thing that got shown to me is that we're navigating a void right now. So
mm,
as I think was whatever's
mm,
going on with the planets, nothing's structurally in place at the moment. And so
mm,
within this void, how we navigate through that in our north node. how we connect into our body with no root system, have a magnetism that keeps us upright and on our axis, on our truth, to eventually move through the void to come to place to find our roots that are true, which is what was shown the Earth star. So we're having to dismantle these old roots. We're going through the void, but we know we're safe through this darkness and not fear it. And then eventually the roots come forwards. But
Oh,
North Node
do you
kept
feel that
coming.
quite a lot of people might move, be like literally physically on the move because of that?
I feel like, yeah, it will shift. It will shift relationships, it will shift jobs, it will just
Yeah.
shift so much. And we'll navigate it a bit more gracefully when we can connect into our bodies and just
Mm.
trust. And when we can feel that, we might not know it. It's the unknown, which so many of us fear the unknown. Yet the unknown can't be feared really because it's not actually real. It's
Not
just
real. We're not there.
boom.
Yeah, yeah, and knowing that the future doesn't exist, there will be other pockets of people who are awakened to their new frequency, who set off in the new year, in that universal year one. It's universal, it's for all of us. Everyone will have the energy of let's go, Aries, on time. And being really mindful of that, because low vibration of Aries starts wars. And I am not making any predictions on that front. I wouldn't. But knowing that people who are operating at different frequencies could act out Aries energy at the whole spectrum. So I think the more that we allow that emotional truth to come up, and this is why a lot of people in spiritual spaces are saying no to all forms of spiritual bypassing. Why? Because it bypasses emotional truth.
Mm.
And we need it to come up. So if people are in anger, in rage, we need spaces where people can be in their emotional truth.
Yeah, completely. And
Safe,
be safe in
safe
that.
discharge. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
think as you said that, because I've been shown there's a second heart awakening coming through very soon. Now it's like I was getting anxiety, palpitations, thinking, oh, I don't get anxiety. What's going on here? And it's like there's another heart collective awakening. We had it in 2020. There's going to be a second, oh yeah, another one coming. And obviously COVID had pros and cons, right? So again, it could be a positive, negative, depending on how you view it. Okay, for the positive,
Okay.
for the negative to exist, remember the positive is too. So find the positive, not the negative. And so it's kind
Mm.
of like that is happening. And the fact that you're talking about potentially war energy, I also feel that will trigger people to find no, this isn't alignment, this isn't my truth, this isn't
Exactly.
me, this I choose peace, this the distortions and the stories that you've been telling me of separation, this isn't alignment to people will feel their bodies and go, no,
No. Yes, a massive big fat choir of no.
no. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah. Come to war. No thanks. Or
no,
just
we
no.
choose peace. We choose, yeah, it's huge. It'll be literally, but this will be the where the actual separation needs to happen through the truth that is oneness, if you know, if that makes sense. This breaking out of this illusion of separation will happen as oneness comes
Yeah.
through stronger. So
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting about a second wave of heart awakening. Woo!
I know, I think we're going to have some more spiritual warriors on the case coming through. So,
Oh,
yeah, anchoring this light much more, and it's just the next wave of energy coming through. So,
next year is the rise of the spiritual warrior, so perfect. Love it.
as if by magic. Oh, gorgeous. It's been so gorgeous. Thanks. Thank you for joining me, sweetheart. And
Thank
it's always a
you.
pleasure. And I'm sure there'll be another one of these dropping in when we get the inspiration too. So, thank you. And thank you for
Thanks for
everyone who
having me.
listens.